Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you two more suggestions that I got through Discord from puzzles that were made from members of the server. So I have a couple of really great people on there so far who have just given me amazing puzzles. This video is going to demonstrate two of those puzzles. Okay, so in this first puzzle, it's white to move. These pawns are going down the board, and you have to figure out how you can win as white. So there's only one move that wins in this position, and there are a few that draw. So if you want to take a moment, now's your chance. If not, I'm going to go ahead and share the answer with you. And before I do that, I would just please encourage you to subscribe. Half of the income that I earn on this channel goes directly to charity. So a free subscription from you really helps out me and the world so much. Okay, so when you're looking at this, the first thing you might think, this is how I thought about it, was, okay, I can't stop this pawn, right? If I were to play something like this, that doesn't mean anything, because remember the pawns are going down the board. So they just promote, and though this may seem great that I'm promoting as well, it doesn't actually lead to anything because the king has an out square. Oops, like that. And here, there's nothing I really have. Notice that I can't go queen here because that is covered. Or else that would be a nice move, in case you were wondering. So you kind of have this feeling, at least that's how I felt, that you have to figure out how to maybe get somewhere here and then maybe there. And then you realize you can't stop the pawn. Pretty quickly you realize that the pawn is going to be pushed. So then you have to ask yourself, do I move forward with the king? Maybe here. Maybe I somehow clear out this bishop. And then you kind of think about, where would I want to be if I could just, in a dream position with my queen? So let me just give an example of what I mean by that. So let's say I play this simple bishop b7. Saying, okay, I see your queen, I'm going to get my own queen. You play, pawn promotes to a queen. I play a8 queen. But then after king g7, like I just mentioned, I don't have any ability to get here, check you, here, or here. You might wonder about this move, maybe something like this. It doesn't quite work because they have this check. And it's not going to be a good time. Right. Okay, so in this position, it leads to a win for black, by the way. King d6. This move hurts. This move hurts. Lots of moves hurt. Okay. The point, though, is you start seeing from this example move where the issue might be. And you sit here and you look and you go, okay, I don't quite understand how a bishop move is going to help me out. And maybe if you see where the king is going, maybe you can get the idea. So if you want to take one more second, feel free. If not, I'm going to kind of give away the key point. So when you check with the queen, the king has this out square of g7. And this g7 square is not accessible from the queen that's going to be here in just a moment. Not accessible from this queen, right? You can't do anything from here. You can't check here or here or here because the king's here. Okay, what am I trying to say here? I'm saying that if you look at this square g7, where is this square accessible from? Well, if there's a queen on a8, there's only one place that the queen can move to, I should say one sensible place, where it attacks g7, and that would be g2. So if I could somehow get a queen on g2, I'd be able to attack g7. Well, here is the point, and here is the answer. The first move in this position is the pretty sweet bishop h1. What? Well, what's the point of this move? The point is, after they promote, let's just say they promote, they can move their king first, but let's just say they promote. I promote. And now, the reason this is different is because now the king is forced to move, and I freed up the only square that's accessible from this corner A8 square. The bishop going to H1 is a clearance move. So now I play Queen G2, and what do? You're going to play like a computer, and you're going to throw your pieces right in front, or like a computer would probably do this, right? This one or this one. Or you play like a human being, and you just put your king in the corner. But here's the nice little move here. You can't stop it. King F7. How are you stopping mate? Look at this. I love these kinds of positions. You make a simple king move, and what do? They can't do anything. I'm gonna try to mate you right here, or here. How are you gonna stop it? You want to try to check me? It's not gonna work. I just take it. Your queen can't move and defend this square at the same time. If they do, like maybe here, that would do it. You just take it, right? So that's pretty much going to be mate. Like I said, you can give me a check. I take it. You want to play like a computer, you can do this. And even this, that doesn't work, right? I was trying to think about all the ways you can make it worse, but it doesn't work. So either way, the point is you can't stop the mate. After that first bishop move into the corner, I just love this idea. Right into the corner, clearance little tactic here. If they move the king first, we have to look at this line. What do? Well, what's wrong with promoting? It seems like promoting should be fine. And then you might wonder, well, what if they promote maybe to a knight or something to guard that square? It's not gonna. You think that's gonna change anything? It's not gonna lead to an immediate mate, but it still will lead to mate. According to the computer, the best move in this position is King H6. And you know things look bad when that's your best move, right? So King G8 is the computer suggestion, coming in here to mate, and you have a bishop coming in too if this pawn gets taken. There's just a lot. It's not enough for black to win. So great puzzle. Big shout out to the member on Discord who suggested that puzzle. Thank you. You've been making some really cool puzzles, and I think you're going to be featured on this channel quite a bit. So thanks for being awesome. And that's that. Let's go to the second puzzle. Okay. The second puzzle has an interesting theme here. If you are familiar with chess in general and kind of these key themes, you may recognize this kind of idea where you have 3 pawns against 3 pawns. Sometimes you see it with the pawns like this, where they're just separated by one empty rank. So you have to think it's white to move again. I should say that, sorry. It's white to move, and you have to think, what is the winning move here? And if you're not familiar with what I was saying before, there's a really common theme in chess where it has, I don't know, 2 kings over here or something, and you have pawns like this. And if you know what I'm talking about, hopefully this is not too annoying. And you make a move, and the idea is to create a breakthrough and win the king and pawn endgame. Right? 3 pawns against 3 pawns. There's this way to break through where, depending on what the opposition does, you can break through in the next move. That's what this is very similar to. The twist in that is now we have a knight on the board, and black already made this initial move. So let me kind of show you what I mean. So let's first rule out the obvious bad moves. So C3 and A3 are both not going to make any sense, right? I play A3, you just take, and I can't get a knight to guard the square, because to guard the square, I would have to be on this square or this square, and I cannot hop to either of those squares in one move, right? So clearly that doesn't work. Same idea with C3. Take, push, I can't do anything to stop it. So you're faced with a decision. C pawn or A pawn has to capture. Right? Anything else doesn't make any sense. You want to bring your king in, they capture here, you're not stopping it. You want to bring your knight in, they capture here, you're not stopping it. Okay, here's the key, and this is the breakthrough. If you take with the C pawn, then they have this really nice tactic, this really nice breakthrough that is really common in endgames. They play A3. And now what is this doing, A3? Well, you can think of this B pawn as being like the final guard from the C pawn running. So if you take this pawn, then that allows this pawn a free path. If you don't take this pawn, let me go back. You don't take this pawn and you wait, maybe you do something like you take this pawn, this one, well then you just gave up that and you're going to lose. So this breakthrough is really common, and if you're not familiar with it, you really have to know it. So what's my point here? With the C pawn, you lose because of this little tactic, A3, and you kind of have nothing. If you take, they're pushing through. If you don't take, they're going to take and push through. And your knight's not there in time, right? You want to do something like this. They just take you, and then you play knight d2. It looks good, but not quite, because they push you around and you're not going to be able to win. You have a check. That may sound good, but you're not going to be able to guard both of these pawns, right? It's pretty instructive. King or knight a3 looks good, right? You're here, but it doesn't have to happen that way. You can promote to a queen, get taken. Now how are you stopping this pawn promoting? You can't. Right? Really instructive endgame. So in that line, go back, in that line, white loses if you take with the C pawn. What if you take with the A pawn? Well, if this same idea is applied, which is to undermine this central B pawn with this advance, C3, trying to take the base out of this pawn structure and allow this guy to run through. If you do this, the nuance, the difference, the slight cool difference, knight f3 can be played in this position. And now, if you take this pawn, just look at how crazy this looks. You go knight d2, saying, okay, I got you covered. You promote, I will take it. And just like before, you can try to hold on, but now there's this check. And look at this, the king has to run away, and now white will win because white is covering all this, and you're not going to get in. And this pawn has nowhere to go except to get captured, either by the king or, if it ever gets promoted, by the knight. So that's pretty sweet. If you look at that all the way from the beginning, these slight differences, right, these slight imbalances, in this case, the space, leads to the win. A takes B leads to a win. C takes B leads to a loss. It's so delicate, this game, and I think that's part of why I love chess, and maybe that's part of why you like chess and the puzzles and all that kind of stuff. It's a very delicate game, but a big shout out to the user who created this as well. I think first on YouTube and then got to Discord. So thank you so much from the two people who suggested those puzzles. They're really great. I really appreciate all the feedback. Interacting with the community has been so great. I just really love it. I appreciate all the time and effort that everyone has been putting in. But that is it for now. If you enjoy the videos, I would just please encourage you to subscribe. Every single thing helps. Even just watching it, even liking it, that helps a lot as well. But thank you so much, and talk to you soon. Bye.